solution. Her best hope was in herself, and her ability to keep a step ahead of her uncle until the trial. "That might have been easier if you'd stayed with the police," she muttered, using a long wooden pole to move the canoe through shallow water. There was no sense beating herself up over the decision to run again. Uncle Angus's hired guns had firebombed the tiny police station she'd been taken to after she'd been attacked. During the chaos that had followed, she'd seen the opportunity and she'd run. It had seemed like the right decision at the time. Now she wasn't so sure. The sun had nearly set, its golden glow still lingering on the horizon. Mosquitoes buzzed around her head. She didn't bother slapping at them. Her arms ached, her head throbbed, her body felt leaden. All she wanted was to get out of the glades and back to civilization. She'd make different decisions this time. Head for a place she'd never been before. She'd buy colored contacts to change the bright green eyes she'd inherited from her mother. The reading glasses she'd bought and worn hadn't hidden them well enough, and Uncle Angus had told her that was how she'd been found. "Those eyes, kid," he'd growled. "You can't hide them." He was wrong. She could, and she would. No more living in her delusions, telling herself that everything was going to be okay because she was a good person with a good heart who wanted only what was best for the people she loved. A fool. Because she really wanted to believe that good begat good, and that the happily ever after she'd planned for so many clients would happen for her one day. She might be a fool, but she wasn't stupid. If she was found again, she would die. But she wasn't going to be found. She'd sleep in the canoe again, just like she had the past 3 nights, covered by mosquito netting, listening to things slither in and out of the water. By tomorrow afternoon, she should reach her destination, Long Pine Key Campground. She eyed the compass she'd bought before she'd left Wyoming, using a small mag light to study the map she'd grabbed from the Everglades National Park Information Center. She'd had a feeling she was going to need both. As a matter of fact, she'd put together a survival pack, and she'd hidden it in the crumbling loft of one of the boat sheds that dotted the trailer park where she'd been staying. She'd been able to grab it after she'd escaped the police. Maybe she wasn't as much of a fool as her ex-fiancé, Brent, had said she was when she'd told him she was going to testify against her brother. She was tired, though. Tired people made mistakes, like coming to the Everglades instead of heading for Texas or California or somewhere else where no one would think to look for her. Death. It had been stalking her for months, but now she could feel it breathing down her neck. She shuddered, watching the edges of the murky water for a place to pull onto the shore. She needed a spot clear of vegetation, one that would allow her to drag the canoe far away from the edge of the water. Tomorrow she'd be away from the slithering, slapping, plopping sounds of things moving through the water. She'd leave the canoe behind and make her way out of Florida. She still had money. Not much, but enough to get her to another state. She'd start fresh, build a new business. Nothing to do with weddings or brides. Nothing that anyone she knew would connect her with. Not even Violetta. Her eyes burned at the thought of never seeing her older sister again, her heart heavy with what that would mean. No family, no connections, no one who shared all her childhood memories. If she could have, she'd have contacted her sister. But she didn't dare. Their brother Reginald would use Violetta's knowledge about Esme to his advantage. He'd probably been doing it all along. As much as she loved her sister, she also knew Violetta's weakness: greed. She liked the good things in life, and she was happy to let their brother Reginald give them to her, even if his means to those ends was murder. Esme winced at the thought, pushing aside the memory that was always at the back of her mind. She'd witnessed a murder. Her brother had been the murderer.